And good morning, and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. You got a full screen.
Yeah, Jules.
Nice.
He was fired up during the bugle. He was like screaming. He was like "Ada, Ada!" So he got all excited that the Nudelberg Daily Huddle was back for another Wednesday edition.
So are we claiming that he said his first word yet, or no? We're still
he
in
says
gym.
mama. He says dad,
Okay,
dad
so-
pretty clearly. Banana, and he's going nah for a banana. So he's communicating.
Good.
Okay. A couple things I want to get to. We have a huddle table at the Evening of Hope. We spoke about it last week. Right now, it's me and Helen, and it's Joy Linsky and her husband. We have 3 spots. I've spoken to a few people who are pending. If you want to join us that night, it'd be a fun table. So, Shay, show me what the Evening of Hope looks like, please.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Well, yeah, you do. We had this, which I asked you at the beginning of the show, but there it goes. Okay, so next, we had a lot of response from yesterday's potential of doing a live huddle. Thank you. There it is. Evening of Hope, June 2nd, Friday night at Harbor Beach. Should be really a fun night. Some great networking, great food, and tons of cruises that will be in the auction. So, if you want to join us at our table, talk to me. We'll tell you about it as a direct charity donation, and hopefully you can join us. Number 1. Number 2 is we are going to get together today. We are going to put together a date, and we are going to do a live huddle. That is going to happen. It's going to be great. So if you're interested in coming and you're able to make it, make sure you send us a note that says I'm interested. I know that a few people have already said that. Romy Wallach, she was really into it. I know Jamie Triple.
Tough night for Romy Wallach and Jonathan Aaron, since you were on that bandwagon. So
right.
Just
they're both Maple Leaf. They're both Maple Leafs fans.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well. So then, obviously, we've steered the show so much away from sports. Today, I want to bring it home because there's so much to talk about, so many conversations, and I want everybody to stick because after we wake this thing up, it's Mark against Jake about what Giannis. I
have created something.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man.
So
let's get to the wake up music and let's get back and let's start the debate.
Yeah, go.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more about the thinking. Time of thinking ahead. Come on.
It's
Okay.
a great rendition.
Speaking,
of that song.
hold on, before we get into the debate, and go figure, I have to shout my own shit out. But today, Eddie Dykes got jaked, and I would love to show the picture
There you
because
go.
the music is actually on par for what it was. A great first day. Eddie took the plunge, decided that he wanted to change his fitness life. He's a big rower, hasn't gotten away from rowing, gotten away from strength training. So today was the first day. He was an unreal client. He pushed through everything. I don't think I killed him too much, but he's excited for Friday, so I guess he's going to keep me around.
I do want to point out that, as a successful entrepreneur, and he is a very successful entrepreneur, it's all about mindset. He is setting his mind, his will to get better. And so that's when coaching is so much fun, when you deal with people who are
Well,
totally.
he even said that. He goes, it's a lot like business. Like, I don't even consider not doing it an option, or I don't consider failure an option. It's I'm going to do it. And it's a lot of the mind over matter. And it's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. It's cool not to have to teach that, though. It's cool to have a person who
So let me
believes in
set
that.
this thing up.
Wait, so one more shout out then. Speaking of doing the work, I spent a bunch of time with Joy Linsky yesterday, and we went deep into the business development sales process conversation. And we are working on putting together a playbook for her and the JTI crew. So those people know these are successful entrepreneurs. They know that the work is required. They're willing to dive in and do the work. And that's why they're a part of the On the Ball community.
Incredible. Great stuff. And that's a perfect example of where if you ask, you get.
Yeah.
So let me set up the tone for today. Lots of conversations happen about sports, and there are two sides to every conversation, for sure. Last week, and this was Inc. Magazine's article on this, NBA superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo's authentic, impassioned response to a reporter's question about failure is one of the best speeches I've ever heard. He summed up the lesson in just 8 words. I said bullshit. Mark said bullshit. Jake went the other way. So I am giving you each time on the clock. Jake, tell us why you think that
starting.
You're
I'm starting. We probably should have
can-
just started. Do we have the video? Can we play it for those?
I
Do we
have it
have
in the huddle.
Can we-
Shay,
Do
can
you
we
mind if we
play the
Play it for the
Giannis?
people who maybe
Yeah.
haven't seen it, who aren't sports fans, and have no idea
Would
what we're
love
talking
that.
about.
And then
Is that
Mark, if you
possible,
want to
Shay?
start, I don't care which one of you start, but Shay,
I'll start. So it's not.
Wait,
and
wait,
I
wait,
wrote
wait.
it. I said this yesterday in my post.
Hold
Oh,
on,
wait.
hold on, let's play it.
wait.
I just asked Bud the exact same question, but I'm curious for you. Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, you know. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, you know. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad.
So I'm gonna start because what he's saying is good, right? Yes, there it is progress. There are steps to everything, but to say that there's not failure in sports or that things aren't a failure, let's be clear on this. We live in a results-driven world, right? And you get measured upon your results. You don't get measured upon coming up short. You don't get measured on almost being the guy. You either get remembered for doing it or you don't get remembered for doing it. And so to first of all, to put the analogy as getting a promotion, let me say, if his goal at the beginning of the year was to get a promotion or a raise and he didn't get it, you're damn right he failed. If you set the expectation,
Does it? Sorry, I want to interrupt.
If you set the expectation that the goal is to be achieved and the goal is not achieved, that is a failure, and failure is not a bad word. Lots
Because
of
it is
progress.
meant to be the teacher. That's the teacher. Feeling
Exactly.
that pain is what's significant. I thought he pushed it away.
Right. So Jake, I'll let you respond to me saying that failure is not a bad word, and that absolutely, if the goal was to win a championship and you didn't win, it is a failure.
Sure, you failed in that one goal. To make one goal your entire season success or failure, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that 1 week defines your other 7 months. They were the number 1 seed. They won a lot of games. He made the All-Star game. They had a lot of people make the All-Star game. Sure, in one goal they did not achieve. I understand. So Alabama has failed a lot more than they have succeeded. I don't believe in that because they've won right after. So yes, you can use it. Doesn't make the year a failure. The question was not does not winning a championship make the year a failure? I don't believe in that. I don't.
If that was the goal.
Sure, that's one of the goals. But we even talk about winning a championship can't be your only goal. You have to achieve the goals that reach success. So they did a lot of things that were correct and were succeeding in what we're going to get there. And because he falls, hold on, let me speak. Because he falls in game 1 and doesn't play the first 4 games, and they have to deal with Jimmy Butler going off, it's completely a failure. I don't believe in that. Yes, they failed on one goal. That doesn't make the entire thing a failure, in my opinion. One goal does not make 7 months of what they did a complete failure. They learned a lot.
Saying that there can't be progress in failure.
It's not a participation trophy. You asked the entire. No, it's not. He didn't win. It doesn't make the year a failure. It means they missed on that goal. That doesn't.
Nobody is saying that you can't make progress in failure, but and Shaq completely disagreed. There are athletes that are you go back and forth. There's a lot of people, and it's all about perspective. To me, right? I think that it's poor practice, it's poor leadership, and I don't think you really get what you want at the end by not addressing the fact that you came up short.
So we keep saying, so we're also basing a person's personality or what they believe to be true on a clip 6 minutes after they lost one of the hardest series in their life. So we're saying, oh, he doesn't own failure. We have no idea what he said to the team as a leader. Because he said something to the media, we're really agitated because he thinks that it's progress, not failure. Like, we're agitated that he doesn't operate that way. Hold on. Kobe was asked. Let me finish. Kobe was asked, hey, you won the MVP. You were the number 1 seed, but you didn't win the championship. Was it a failure? Well, he goes, if you're grading it by that aspect, then it was a failure. It's all on how you grade it, though. You grade that championships are the only way to define success in sports. I don't.
Let me give some color and some perspective to this conversation. I had somebody through LinkedIn reach out to me and say, hey, I'd be interested in the other side of it. Had a conversation with the guy, and all I said to him, I go, you're my peer. You remember Michael Jordan? Would Michael Jordan after the game go, no, Michael Jordan would say, it was a failure. We set out to win. And what I will do is I will internalize that failure. I will figure out what went wrong, and I will use it as fuel so that it doesn't happen.
So he didn't fail. He missed.
Which Giannis said. Giannis said at the end of that, that entire press conference, he goes, we're going to learn from this. We're going to get better, which is great. But it's, to me, the inability to address it directly and just say, yeah, I'm okay with saying that was a failure. I, many a times, have gotten in front of the team and say, guys, this is what we said the goal was. It was to win the game, regardless of how well we played on offense or how well we played on defense or how well we played on special teams. The goal was to win the game, and we failed at that.
And you looked at them and told them that the year was a waste and a failure? That I have a hard time believing that.
Who said anything about a waste?
Sure, that the season was a failure. Sorry, that the season was a failure.
1,000%. If the goal was to win a championship, let's not confuse this with being an 8 seed and an underdog and a team that wasn't expected to win. With great expectation comes great responsibility. So if I've got expectations to meet a certain standard, I have the responsibility to live up to that. And if I don't, I have now failed. Regardless of what progress I made in it, I got to meet expectations. That's the reality of the business. That's the reality of the world we live in. If you want to be a high performer, there are expectations that come along with that. And if you 100%,
it's unacceptable that they lost. It's unacceptable. I'm not saying that. The question was, does it make the year a failure? I don't believe that. You taking everything away, everything that they've achieved as a team over 7 months because of 2 weeks where he got hurt, the best player, and they played a tougher team, maybe in form because they played 2 play-in games. I have a hard time believing that. What Boston did in the regular season, now that they lost to the Florida Panthers, I don't believe that that's a failure. I don't believe that makes the year a failure.
Time out. So one of the things about being great in business is understanding failure.
Also a good point by Randy Ostrow, by the way. He's not from here.
Right, which is an excellent point. So, and we do attack everything that everybody says. But, you know, for me, the easy answer was, yes, it's a failure and we'll deal with it. You know, I mean, it was it's really simple. So here, I'm a baseball player. I have to get comfortable with the fact that I'm only going to hit the ball 3 out of every 10 times I'm at the plate. I need to learn to deal with failure. Every single team in the NBA deals with failure before they win. It's uncanny. Michael Jordan lost for years before he.
Mike Trout's career is a failure, correct? We're all in agreement. Dan Marino's career is a failure.
1,000%. Dan Marino failed to win a championship.
Correct.
Now, doesn't make him not one of the best quarterbacks.
He's a failure. He is a failure.
In that aspect,
In that aspect. Are you labeling his career a failure?
So wait.
Is your
say his career? Nobody said Giannis.
Nobody said Giannis' career is a failure.
What do you mean? That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
This season was a failure.
This season is a failure. So that every season in Dan Marino's career was a failure, therefore his career was a failure. That the same logic applies.
If you ask Dan Marino, what was the number one goal for me? Was to win a championship. He wanted more than anything to win a championship. So if you ask him, did you win a championship? No. Was that a failure in your career? Yes. A big disappointment. Yes. Right. Clear. There's no
Was it a failure? Does it make the entire year and career a failure? That was what the question was.
Whoa, time out. Were they sitting in the locker room? Were they sitting in the locker room last year at the beginning of the season saying, what's our goal? Our goal is to win a championship. Every team should be saying that. If they don't get that, it's a failure. Every team shoots to win. If you don't win, it's a failure.
And this is my point, Jake. You're talking about Dan Marino's career in terms of winning a Super Bowl. We're not saying Giannis's career is a failure.
Not either. You're making one goal a part of the year. What the hell's going on out here?
Let's be clear.
I don't see the difference.
He was asked, is this season a failure? In terms of the team. Not in terms of
taking everything else away that they achieved. Everything else away that they achieved. Every goal, every succeeding, every point that he scored was an absolute failure.
Number one seed in the East and the team that's expected to win the championship. Yes, it's a failure. Did we do a lot of great things? Did we overcome a lot of adversity? Did we hit some things?
Disagree.
Yeah, all that happened.
I don't believe that that's a way to lead a team, in my opinion. It's not my leadership style to throw away everything you achieve. You're getting agitated. I'm just
nobody's throwing away everything that you can achieve.
If the entire year is a failure because you didn't achieve one goal, you throw it all away. Like it's not what? It was a failure.
I don't understand how it's so black and white. I don't understand that. I don't understand how saying that we didn't.
The question was, is a failure.
We wanted. Oh, time out. Lori said something. Stop. Okay. So Lori said, if my team doesn't hit one goal, but 10 others it would be demoralizing not recognizing their successes. That is not what this conversation is about. Correct. Lori, if you don't hit budget that was set by the board, right? That's a fucking failure.
You guys are misquantifying goals here. Winning a championship is super freaking hard.
Yes,
31 teams fail every year. Like and they look at their season. I don't view that as sport. Like I just don't. I don't believe that I failed 5 years.
Let me put this in terms of our business. Let me put this in terms of our business. The ultimate goal is a revenue goal. We have lots of other goals that feed into the revenue goal. But at the end of the year, most businesses operate either off of total revenue or total profitability. They set that goal, and then they set the milestone goals that lead to that. If at the end of the year, the CEO does not hit that goal, the company does not hit that goal, and does not address the fact that they didn't hit the goal, they're not holding everybody accountable to the ultimate goal of the company. Yes, we did a lot of really good things.
Was this year a failure? No, we didn't reach our
Ultimately,
ultimate
this
goal,
year
but
we
it wasn't
failed.
a failure. Wow,
Ultimately,
yeah.
this year we failed.
Yeah, I'm not.
1,000%.
So
We
wait,
made a
wait,
ton of
let's use-
progress.
let's
We
use
did a
the
lot of
business-
really good things, but ultimately, the thing that we were trying to achieve.
So the
we did
year
not
wasn't,
achieve.
we failed, but does that make the year a failure? Two different things to me. Making the year and season a failure and having a failure in the season is two different things to me.
I could see your point, and Joy actually says, this is a lesson in verbiage, and maybe Giannis doesn't have a command of the language. But here's what my problem.
We have right.
Oh, time out. Here's what my problem is that all of a sudden everybody's jumping on Giannis's bandwagon, going, "This is the greatest fucking thing that anybody's ever said." It's not. It's
Right.
not. If he's leading my team, I want him to be fucking pissed off that we lost. He's not pissed off. Ooh, he's blaming and talking all this bullshit. He's pissed off. Be hot that we lost.
Wow.
We'll talk to a reporter and turn it around. Listen, if Laurie doesn't,
He doesn't look mad.
Huh?
He doesn't look agitated in that.
He didn't.
Really?
No. He just said,
Wow.
it's stepping stones. No, like Mark texted me soft. I think that's soft.
It was a soft response, and that's the way I would.
But you
look
guys
at
love
it.
Kobe, and he tells you failure doesn't exist. I don't.
Well,
I don't understand.
Whoa, that's taken out of context.
Yes.
Because Kobe said, if I did everything I could, then failure doesn't exist because I'm just going against myself. I'd love to see Giannis say something like that.
And I would still disagree with Kobe saying that. Doesn't mean I don't love Giannis. I don't not love Giannis because of what he said here. All I'm doing is taking this one incident and saying this is a great opportunity for a leadership lesson in context, addressing accountability and understanding that if you don't own it in front of the group, you now pass the buck for everybody else on there to point fingers and go, oh, well, it wasn't really a failure. We did a lot of really good things, and that's great. Ultimately, you have to address the fact that you set a goal that you didn't reach. And if that doesn't get addressed, there's major problems in that.
So here's the thing. If
Culture and leadership and how you develop.
If you go back to my generation, Magic, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, all of those guys, Shaq, and put them in this scenario, there's not one of them who would have responded like that. They would have been flipping pissed off. Larry Bird was the biggest trash talker of all because he was so intent on winning it all. Nothing else mattered. That's a guy I want to play with.
Do you know what LeBron said when he lost the title in 2010?
What did he say?
You know what the quote? He goes, "The people who are haters have to go back to their lives, and I'm going to go back to mine." Like that's not a good answer.
I don't hate him.
That's not a good answer either. So we're going to get mad about what people say and say that he didn't address the situation because he didn't address it to the crowd and not his team. Like we don't know what he said in the locker room.
Here are two quotes that are being pointed towards this lesson that Giannis taught people. Don't look at it as a failure and strike the word failure from your vocabulary. I think both of those are malpractice when it comes to doing anything that requires achievement in your life. If you are afraid of the word failure, and that is my whole point with this conversation, is that he didn't address.
And we'll go to overtime.
That he didn't address the word failure. He skirted it. He navigated it. He bounced around it and would not say, you know what? Absolutely.
The question was the season a failure? Yes, they failed in that goal. He does not believe that they wasted 7 months. One failure in a season doesn't make the entire season
this
a
is
failure.
my problem.
Those are
with your
different
definition of
questions.
this.
Those are different questions.
What you just said is that because it's a failure, it's a waste of 7 months. This is what's wrong with the understanding of the word failure. Giving your absolute everything and coming up short is the greatest thing that can happen to you because it offers you the ability to continue to grow and to understand the lesson that you don't always get it and that it's going to require more and that there's something else that has to happen in order for you to get there. So the concept that because we call the season a failure, then makes the season a waste is what's wrong with the word and what's wrong with the understanding of the word.
Sorry, I meant wasted in the sense of we don't have any achievements and therefore you don't look at any good. No. You can't call the season a failure, my man. I don't.
Again, this is what's wrong with your interpretation of the word.
Yeah, disagree with you.
Like
I disagree. Missing one goal, makes the year a failure.
Gentlemen, heated discussion this morning that will go on. I will reach out to my friend John Sally. I'm not sure he'll get up at 5 a.m. and join us to do this, but maybe we'll do a taped interview with him, guys, to get his take on it. But certainly a wonderful involvement from the Huddle crew this morning. Lots of takeaways, lots of stuff. But this is what this is about. This sparked creativity, energy that hopefully you take into your morning and into your day. And like Jonathan Aaron says, everybody take it.
Great job. Thank you guys for joining us.
The GIF that you sent me was Al Pacino the other day. Everybody.
Oh, wait, the calming presence has entered the room. Sorry.
Awesome. Thank you guys for a great Nudelberg Daily Huddle. We will see you tomorrow.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.